Now I'd like to talk to you about personality disorders. People with personality disorders have a different set of struggles. So people with personality disorders have sort of rigid and unhealthy ways of thinking and believing. And those focus around their relationships with other people, how they perceive their relationships with other people, and how they act towards other people. The thing with personality disorders that makes them different from other types of mental illnesses is that people with personality disorders don't believe that they have a problem. They believe that their difficulties come from everyone else. So if you point out that, they've lost all of their jobs, they'll tell you different reasons why each job was bad, not being able to deal with their portion of responsibility and what went wrong. People with personality disorder tend to struggle at work and in their relationships. There's different clusters, different types of personality disorders. We're only going to talk about two of them, and those are borderline personality disorder and antisocial personality disorder. People with borderline personality disorder experience a very unstable emotional life. Basically, their emotions vary quite a bit. They struggle a lot with feelings of being worthless. They're very insecure, and as a result of their insecurity, they can be quite impulsive. And that impulsiveness can also cause problems in their relationships. Their relationships tend to change abruptly. They're very intense when they're happening, and then all of a sudden they're over in no time at all. As a result of that, their own values, their own interests and values can vary rapidly depending on what kind of relationships they're trying to establish with other people. And again, so much of their relationship is unstable because they feel so insecure and so worthless. People with BPD experience higher levels of suicide and also higher levels of self-injury. It affects about 5% of the population at some point in everyone's life. What causes borderline personality disorder? Well, there seems to be a little bit of a genetic component. If you have family members with borderline personality disorder, then there's a slight increase in your chances of experiencing those symptoms too. There does seem to be a part of the brain that changes a little bit, but whether it's causal or the result of having borderline personality disorder, it's sort of hard to tell, and they report higher than average levels of past child abuse. The other personality type is the antisocial personality disorder, and people with antisocial personality disorder basically don't care about anyone else's feelings or needs. They want what they want when they want it, and they will do anything to get it. Whether it involves hurting someone else or not, they really don't care. So antisocial personality disorder is when people don't feel compassion, they don't feel remorse, they're very impulsive and irresponsible, right? Whatever is good for them, that's what they're going to do. But they can also be charming, they can be very manipulative. In the old days, people used the term psychopath or sociopath to refer to antisocial personality disorder. And it seems to be significantly higher with men than with women, or at least maybe men are more likely to get into trouble. Antisocial personality disorder is associated with a downregulation or less functioning in the frontal lobes, the part of the brain that's involved in impulse control. People with antisocial personality disorder sometimes end up in prison. In fact, in one study, it was found that 35% of a prison population appeared to have antisocial personality disorder. And you can see where a lack of empathy or feelings about other people could get you into trouble with the law. Like every mental illness, antisocial personality disorder has both a biological and a psychological component. So, for example, one study found that people who develop antisocial personality disorder were more likely to have physical trauma at the time of their birth. They're more likely to have traumatic experiences during their childhood, say grow up in extreme poverty. That's it for now. Come back for one more brief segment on mental illness during the COVID pandemic.